So you know that famous saying that sometimes change can happen over decades and sometimes decades of change can happen in weeks, and that's almost exactly what we are seeing with artificial intelligence or with AI. It's been spoken about for years and decades, and now suddenly every single week what's happening with AI doesn't fail to take you by surprise. Let me just recap for you. 4 months ago, ChatGPT was launched. This is in December. It had natural language capabilities that no one had ever seen before, and everyone got really excited. Then in March, GPT-4 was launched, and it was a clear generation better than ChatGPT. Now, meet Auto-GPT. It's been spoken about for the last week or so after people like Nathan Lands and a few others they stumbled upon it and decided to put it out there on Twitter. And then it blew up. Those tweets went viral. A lot of people got really excited. And then seeing that, other people jumped onto it and started to do their own development. And that's when this entire thing started to spiral. So very clearly, Auto-GPT was not something that was put out by OpenAI, by any other big software powerhouse. It is an open source Python application. It was first developed by significant gravitas, and now it's being used by members of the general public to do some really, really crazy things. What does Auto-GPT do? Well, essentially, it uses GPT-4 as a base to then act autonomously without human prompts. In a nutshell, this is what Auto-GPT is allowing people to do. They can create AI agents. Those agents can then replicate if they have to, and they will keep working on a particular task or a solution until it is completed. Also, and critically, they can work with each other in a very collaborative manner. And all of this on their own, with no further human intervention. Anything else? Yes, GPT-4 had no memory. In other words, after you finish a session, it was done. But now, people have figured out how to give Auto-GPT memory. In other words, these agents can remember. They can remember what they were working on. There are places where that memory can be kept. Anything else? Yes, and this is the big one. People have also figured out how to give Auto-GPT agents access to the internet. They can go to the internet and acquire any information that they need. Now, this is powerful beyond belief. Just take a look at some of the wild things that people are doing with Auto-GPT just in the last 4 or 5 days. It can independently do sales research. It can craft podcasts, give the entire structure for the podcast. It can do market research, probably better than humans can. It can do customer service, something that most humans hate to do. It can be a social media manager. It can be a financial advisor. The capabilities of Auto-GPT and its offshoots are so advanced that people are already starting to wonder whether AGI, or artificial general intelligence, is here. In fact, one of the offshoots of Auto-GPT was actually called Baby AGI, and then within 24 hours it grew up to be Teenage AGI. Well, we are probably not yet at fully blown AGI just yet, artificial general intelligence just yet, but Auto-GPT is definitely a step closer towards that. Take a look at the capabilities of Auto-GPT. Auto-GPT can, as I said, reproduce through autonomous agents, have memory, recursively self-improve, have internet access, and hence have access to infinite information, keep going till its objective is met. This is essentially a path to every scary artificial superintelligence scenario ever written. You know, the Skynet theory, the Matrix theory, all those discussions we've been having about runaway AGI that then becomes super intelligent and wipes out the human race. Auto-GPT and its offshoots seem to have eliminated all the guardrails that would have potentially prevented that from happening. Is this the start of the changing or the end of workforce and offices? I don't know. Is it the start of the end of the world as we know it? Almost certainly. Let me now put those questions to Nathan Lands. As I said, Nathan Lands now joins us. You're in Kyoto, right, Nathan?
Yeah, Vikram, I'm in Kyoto. I lived in San Francisco for about 13 years and recently moved out here.
So I have to tell you that along with the rest of the world, I've probably been sitting on your Twitter feed trying to wait for the world to blow up or for Auto-GPT to come up and do something really crazy. So yeah, just help us in dissecting this in sort of words of one syllable as you do. Auto-GPT, at least on the face of it, seems to be a generation ahead of anything we've seen so far. And it's improving with every passing day.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, I only discovered Auto-GPTs about a week ago and started writing about them. And after I started writing about them, Jeff Bezos followed me on Twitter, and all kinds of crazy amounts of people have been contacting us. And you know, when I discovered it, I discovered Baby AGI, which was created by Yohei Nakajima. And Yohei is a venture capitalist who can't code, and he just came up with this idea and had the GPT-4 help him to create the code and create the paper to explain the code and everything. And basically what auto GPTs are, the concept is that, you know, when you use Chat GPT, maybe some of your viewers are familiar with, you know, Chat GPT, obviously you have to type to it and talk to it with it. And but with auto GPTs, the idea is, what if you gave what if you put several GPT-4s together and had them collaborate with one another, and then gave them a memory to you know, to remember what's been done, and also assign them roles. So with Baby AGI, you know, he actually has it set up where there is a manager GPT-4, and then there's two other basically worker GPT-4s, and he has them collaborate with one another. But you know, this is an early experiment. You know, you can't do a ton with it yet. These systems do have limitations. You know, they tend to get stuck and have a hard time figuring out what to do next.
Everything that you're saying, Nathan, now this is open source. This is not being done by OpenAI. This is not being done by Microsoft or Google or any of the companies. This is now just people out there taking the power of GPT, building open source software. And that means it's completely out of control. Would that be a right way to say this? Both the good parts and potentially the bad parts that I'm going to ask you about could be entirely out of control right now.
I don't think it's out of control. I mean, these services are still relying on OpenAI, at least for now. You know, they're basically amplifying what OpenAI has, their APIs. But you could imagine, as other open source large language models come out that compete with ChatGPT, then yeah, you could start to say that there's not really a way to control any of this. That I would say that's correct.
So just curious, you're talking to so many people around this. What percentage of the people you're talking to, and you've been studying this very closely, what percentage seem to be saying the human species is about to come to an end in the next 5 years or 10 years? What percentage are saying there's going to be utopia and we're going to solve all of human problems? And what percentage are somewhere in between?
When I talk to real friends who've like started successful companies in Silicon Valley, et cetera, I would say, you know, it's probably more like, at least in my circles, it's probably like 10% of people who think that this is a possible end of the world kind of thing. Probably another 20% think that this is going to lead to a utopia, and you know, the other 70% are somewhere in the middle. Right. I tend more towards the utopia side.
Okay, tell me about that. Why do you think this is going to lead to utopia and not lead to human extinction?
I don't believe in some of the arguments that I've heard about how this is going to escape, and that it's going to decide that humans should be destroyed or something. I don't believe this. I believe that you can actually program these systems to care about human life. Yeah, and at least for now, there are guardrails on, and I personally believe that this is going to lead to major breakthroughs in things that just totally change the world, like in terms of, you know, healthcare, discovering cures for cancer. You know, I've got friends with cancer and things like this. I think this technology is going to do incredibly good things.
All right, and we're going to keep checking back with you every few months to see are we heading towards extinction or utopia or somewhere in between. It's an interesting choice to have before us, and one of those is going to work out in the next few years. Thank you so much, Nathan.
Hoping for the best.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, so there you have it, and it's always interesting when Nathan Lance, who actually was one of the people who really brought Auto-GPT to everyone's attention with his Twitter post, and he's clearly in the utopia camp, as you just heard, but even he does think that there's a 10% chance of human extinction, or at least that's what his circle is telling. 70% of people are saying somewhere in between, but the world is going to change forever.